Yes. Good morning. It's still the morning time here where I'm at, 11:55 in the AM here in northern New Jersey. It's looks like it's about 77 degrees outside. Oh, that might be warmer than that now. Perhaps by now. Let me see. Let me check on that because I'm not sure. No, man, we about right, about 77, 79 degrees. We good. But yes, I'm actually gonna be on Indisputable today at 2:30 Eastern time. So before this, I sent some stuff into TYT, so I got that done, and we rolling. You know what I'm saying? I'm going back to St. Louis on Wednesday. I'll be there for about 5 or 6 months, and then I'll be back out this way. So I'm definitely looking forward to everything. But we gonna go ahead and roll through with stuff because again, I'm gonna be on Indisputable today in a couple of hours. So let's go ahead and roll through everything. A couple of updates. Let's see. We got oh no, I don't want to do this. My bad, y'all. I'm looking I got something pulled up because again the Obama's endorsed Kamala Harris and people are well not everybody, but there have been articles coming out about like how um Obama doesn't think that Kamala can win. And it's like she just threw her hat in the ring a few days ago. And of course, a few days later, she's endorsed. So let me see. I'm trying to pull up. Yeah, there we go. Here we go. All right, my bad, y'all. Hold on, who we got in here? Because I'm still on this one. Oh, we got Stoned Assassin. What's going on, brother? How you doing? Good to have you here. I'm all good, man. We here early today, and we gonna run through this stuff because I'm gonna be on Indisputable in a few hours. But I'm doing well. So let's go ahead and roll through this. There was a video released about the Obamas endorsing Kamala Harris, and again, I mean that was gonna happen regardless. But um, you know, it's pretty clear that Kamala is in a very good position, and all she needs to do is continue to ride the wave. But oh, we got Bibliophile. What's going on? How you doing? All right, let's check this out real quick.
Just in to CNN, Kamala Harris landing her biggest endorsement to date. Her ascension to the top of the Democratic ticket, all but complete.
I can't have this phone call without saying to my girl Kamala, I am proud of you. This is going to be historic.
We called to say Michelle and I couldn't be prouder to endorse you and to do everything we can to get you through this election and into the Oval Office.
Oh my goodness. Michelle, Barack, this means so much to me. I'm looking forward to doing this with the two of you, Doug and I both.
Former President Barack Obama and Michelle Obama both giving Vice President Harris their endorsement at the conclusion of her first whirlwind week as the presumptive nominee. They join a long list of Democratic Party leaders who are giving Harris a boost, including President Biden, Dr. Jill Biden, the Clintons, congressional leaders, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, and Nancy Pelosi, the whole lineup. The Obamas had remained.
A lot of people in the celebrity world have lined up behind her as well. We got JD Vance is seeming to just not be a good pick for Donald Trump. I mean, perhaps he wasn't at all, but now that Kamala's in the race, it's really seeming to drag him down quite a bit. We got Monk Without a Cause, Luke Distracted Gardner, Scott the Lakeside Dragon. What's up? How's everybody doing? But yeah, it's what was I saying? JD Vance is really seeming to be dragging Trump's ticket down. I think the average of Republican vice president picks after the convention is like plus 19 or something, and Vance is at -6. And his comments that he's made pretty frequently, pretty much everything is coming back to bite him. But I don't really know if Trump can get rid of him or if that would even work at this point. But let's see what's up.
Mr. President, you know, it was just about a week ago that you selected J.D. Vance to be your running mate. Now we know that Kamala, at that point, you didn't know that Kamala Harris was going to be your main opponent, but now she is. And I'm sure you've seen there have been a couple of stories out that say they wonder whether or not you feel you made the right pick, given the fact you didn't realize you were going to be running against a woman who might now try to pick a running mate to deliver a key state or a demographic or anything like that. You're still 100% behind J.D. Vance, right?
He's fantastic. Yeah, no, it wouldn't have mattered. And I thought she was probably going to happen anyway, because I knew there was a palace coup going on, and I assumed that she'd be probably getting it. She had the advantage. So
he doesn't sound very enthusiastic at all.
Wouldn't matter. No, he's doing a fantastic job. He goes around. He's essentially for the worker. He's seen the worker be horribly abused and taken advantage of, and he's for the worker. That's what his book is about. That's where his feelings are.
Gotcha.
No, he's for the worker. No, he's great. He's doing a great job, and he's been very well received.
Well,
Yeah, nah. Trump knows that JD Vance is not being received well. He knows that he's not doing a great job. And again, for what it's worth, it was he wasn't gonna pick JD Vance at first. I had seen that he was thinking about Doug Burgum, and then his sons basically swooped in and told him that he was tripping. He needs to go with JD Vance, that they're going to win it regardless. And now look what happened. All right, this is more from that same call.
Well, Kamala Harris has given two speeches now that she's the candidate, and they're almost identical speeches. This is what she's doing. She's going after you this way. Watch.
Before I was elected vice president, before I was elected United States Senator, I was elected Attorney General of the state of California, and I was a courtroom prosecutor before then. I took on perpetrators of all kinds. Predators who abused women, fraudsters who ripped off consumers, cheaters who broke the rules for their own gain. So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type. And in this campaign, I promise you, I will proudly put my record against his any day of the week.
There's the attack. What's the retort?
Well, I think it's disgusting, and I get a kick out of one thing. They say, sir, be nice. You just got hit with a bullet. Maybe he's changed. Be nice. And I'd love to be nice, but I'm dealing against real garbage. When you hear that, they've weaponized the justice system against me. They've indicted me 4 times. They've pushed other lawsuits onto me. It's never happened in this country. This is like a third world country, what they've done.
It's really funny to when people say that America's like a third world country for stuff like this. It's like, get the fuck out of here, man.
A banana republic. Every single court case that I have is pushed on by them. They've taken the Justice Department, used local DAs.
And again, obviously, this isn't even true because some of his cases are state cases.
And used local attorney generals. Every single case I have, and I just won the big one in Florida that Biden didn't win. What happened to Biden is they called him incompetent. He can run for president, but
you didn't win that one. It got postponed, but you didn't win it.
He's incompetent to represent himself in court. But just so you know, they push all these cases on me. They're the ones that started. And then they say, I'm a prosecutor. He's a criminal. They're the ones. Every case is started by them. And I'm winning the cases. But every case, and the big one I just won in Florida was just thrown out by a brilliant judge, to be honest with you. And it's disgraceful. It's disgraceful that they can do this. It's called weaponization, and it does happen in other countries.
Mr. President,
but does it get under your
skin? It's never happened in this country before.
Does that get under your skin when those comments are made? Because that's what they're meant to do.
It's not a question of getting under your skin. You fight back. I fought back, I think, very valiantly. But they weaponized the United States Justice Department against Donald Trump for purposes of hurting their political opponent. And so far, and I think long term, it's had a positive effect. My poll numbers are high. They're higher than they've ever been. People don't like.
I think that Donald Trump is peaked in terms of where his polling is going to be, because I mean, there's really not much else that he has opportunity to make them go up. He's already gotten his bump from the convention. His polling numbers didn't get any type of his polling after the assassination attempt. He didn't get like any type of major significant boost at all. So I think that he's pretty much flatlined where he is. Kamala's definitely going to continue to go up. And again, with only a few months left, there's really not enough time for the honeymoon period to go away. There's just not. And they still got the Democratic convention. She's going to get a bump from that. But yeah, I think that Trump has pretty much peaked. This race has become Kamala's to lose. She's still, got work to do in swing states. Obviously, there's still stuff to be done, but yeah, it's just the tables have really turned a lot. And again, I think it's hilarious that that Donald Trump wasn't gonna go with JD Vance. He was -6 after the -6 compared to an average of +19. And again, obviously he could still pull it off, but like uh, it's just interesting how life can go. And now he's backing out of the debates because he's a coward. And you know, I don't know. If he actually really doesn't debate her, that's really going to look bad. He's going to look bad at the debate because I think he'll be flustered. His plan of just looking better than Joe Biden, that's out the door. So he's actually going to have to talk about policy. He's going to have to talk about what he's going to do. But I would think that if Trump does a debate, he's just going to be talking about how he's being cheated, how the Democratic Party's been coming after him with the Justice Department. I don't think he's going to be able to help himself. Um, but still, I think doing the debate would make him look a lot better than not doing it. But this is just nonsense. And clearly Kamala is the nominee now. Well, not officially, but she clearly is about to be. Trump campaign says he won't agree to any debates right now because Democrats very well could still change their minds. I mean, essentially what's going on is Trump is beating himself, and that's usually what happens. Trump and Republicans defeat themselves, and that's what's going on. He's just beating himself. The campaign of former President Donald Trump said he will not agree to any debates with Vice President Kamala Harris at the moment because Democrats could pick another nominee. What difference does that make? It doesn't matter. And here's a statement. Given the continued political chaos surrounding crooked Joe Biden and the Democrat Party, general election debate details cannot be finalized until Democrats formally decide on their nominee, which is about to happen. I think he'll debate her. If he doesn't, again, that will kill his campaign if he doesn't, because the memes will just be endless, and we live in a time of memes. But he better, for his sake, he better do it. There's a strong sense by many in the Democrat Party, namely Barack Hussein, namely Barack Hussein Obama, that Kamala Harris is a Marxist fraud who cannot beat Trump. This is such a stupid campaign message. And then, of course, immediately afterwards, we get that the Obamas endorsed Kamala Harris because, of course, they would, and they are still holding out for someone better. Who? Therefore, it would be inappropriate to schedule things with Harris. This is just a massive admission of weakness. There was no need to say this. There was just no need to say it at all. Um, Hold on, let's see what's up. I think I got something else pulled up. Um, do I? Yeah, here we go. You said he burned 100 calories. We got Sigourney in the building. Oh, we got brother Soul Life. My bad, y'all. I'm on the one screen, so I'm missing out on stuff. And then again, I'm gonna be on Indisputable at 2:30 today, 2:30 Eastern time. So I'm gonna run through this stream pretty quickly. Uh
We have an empty podium right here to my right. You know what that is? That's for Joe Biden. I'm trying to get him to debate. I'm calling on Crooked Joe to debate anytime, any place. We'll do it anywhere you want, Joe, so that we can discuss in a friendly manner the real problems of our country, of which there are many, instead of trying to have corrupt prosecutors fight your battles for you.
Kamala.
Hello. Hi.
Hey there.
Oh, hi. You're both together. Oh, it's good to hear you both.
I can't have this phone call without saying to my girl Kamala, I am proud of you. This is going to be historic.
We called to say Michelle and I couldn't be prouder to endorse you and to do everything we can to get you through this election and into the Oval Office.
Oh my goodness. Michelle, Barack, this means so much to me. I am looking forward to doing this with the two of you, Doug and I both. And
All right, let's see. Yeah, this is what we just read right here about Trump backing out of the debate. But according to this statement, he will accept the debate after the nomination, after the DNC. So, like, I think he'll end up doing it because he'll look worse for not doing it. He just will. And Kamala Harris, what happened at any time, any place? Again, they're just giving the Democrats so much ammo. I think he'll end up doing it. They're gonna make his they're gonna make his ass do it. Mm, man, they're not taking Kamala Harris off. That shit is not happening. There's not a single person. No, that's not happening. That's ridiculous. Buttigieg roasts Trump for backpedaling on Kamala Harris debate. Extraordinary show of weakness.
Donald Trump and his campaign have suggested that he may not follow through with the debate in September that had been scheduled to be with President Biden. Now, of course, would be the vice president, assuming she does wrap up the nomination.
We got Dragon Ball Super. We got Claudius. What's going on? How y'all doing today?
As expected.
Yeah, no, it's completely obvious now that Kamala's a nominee. So he'll debate her. He'll do it.
What do you make of that?
It's extraordinary. Tough talk is this guy's calling card. And now there's this extraordinary show of weakness. He agreed to, he said anytime, any place. But more than that, he agreed to this specific debate on this specific network on this specific date. And now he's pulling out. And of course, it shows that he's afraid. It shows that
I really have no clue. I have no idea who she's going to go. I have no clue or hint about who she's going to pick at all. I don't think it'll be Pete Buttigieg. But I do not know. I have no clue.
that he knows if the two of them are on a stage together, it's not going to end well for him. This is a campaign that really.
But I do think that I think the Democrats should be bold right now. Not necessarily, not necessarily too much. I mean, too much of anything is bad. But I think right now is a time to be bold and a little less safe. I think Kamala Harris, she's riding the time, she's riding the culture, she's got everything on her side. I think it would benefit her campaign and the rest of the Democratic tickets down ballot if they go bold, if they embrace the moment. But we'll see. We will see.
Has struggled to be about anything but Donald Trump and Joe Biden. And I think that's the bigger pattern that you're seeing here, and part of why the Trump campaign is having such a hard time adapting. Think about it, just in a matter of 2 or 3 days, our campaign adapted to.
And also, I know that they're like weighing a lot of different things because, as we know in our system, the popular vote is not, it's not necessarily gonna carry you across the finish line. But yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I'm seeing. I've seen a couple of y'all in here saying Kelly. And yeah, as you're pointing out, those people who the states that they really need to win. So yeah, we'll see. We'll definitely see. But I think regardless of who she picks, I think it'll definitely be a better pick than JD Vance because that was just a bad pick. I think anybody else would have worked better than JD.
Literally the biggest possible change, which is a change in the top of the ticket. And yet, within a couple of days, that support consolidated and that message was clear. They, meanwhile, have been flailing in a way that shows they're unable to adapt. And to me, it's not just that their entire strategic apparatus was built around tearing down Joe Biden. I think there's something deeper, which is Donald Trump cannot conceive of a campaign that isn't about the candidate. We're obviously very excited.
I think that's a really good point that he just made, and it's one of the points that we've been talking about here. Is actually that's an excellent point. Look, at the end of the day, uh, Pete Buttigieg is very intelligent. Like there's a lot of other issues with him, but he is a smart person, and that was a very good point that he just made. And we've been talking about it here that this really isn't about Kamala. It's about the moment. It's about what she represents. It's about the counter movement against, like the anti-abortion, anti-black, anti-immigration. That's really what it is right now. So I think that was a good point that he just made. And that's definitely why Republicans are having such a hard time. That's really not a good excuse. I think, Kamala's the vice president. Y'all should have had a plan ready to go just in case for any potential outcome. Um, but yeah, they're flopping around by trying to focus on her, but this isn't about her.
Biden. I think there's something deeper, which is Donald Trump cannot conceive of a campaign that isn't about the candidate. We're obviously very excited about our candidate. Kamala Harris is a leader that everybody is pulling together around, but also she's articulating a message that isn't just about herself and certainly isn't just about Donald Trump, although she has that contrast down. It's about us. And that's the kind of campaign that wins. It's the right kind of campaign. And it's also one that literally does not compute for somebody like Donald Trump.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. That's a solid point about what we're witnessing and what we're watching and why, like we're seeing stuff like this. Let's see. Kamala Harris. See, and again, that's why we're seeing stuff like this. Um, you said if fascism came to the door and offered him a consulting job, he would take it. Probably. He probably would. He would be the voice of reason. He would be the voice of reason. Um, but yeah, but the point that he made about this not being about Kamala is why we're seeing stuff like this. This was another fundraiser Zoom call, and we already went over the other day. What was it, like 40,000 black men, and then before that, like 36,000 black women, um, and 100,000 supporters, $1.8 million. Again, it's about the moment. It's about what she represents, and that's why. What was it? 60% of the $81 million that she raised in 24 hours in small dollar donations were from first time, first time donors. So, and then yeah, so this race now. This has become her race to lose. If she just keeps doing what she needs to do, I anticipate that she'll continue to gain enough support. Um, she's still going to get that bump after the DNC. Yeah, this is the perfect, this is like a perfect storm for her, because again, I think that if Kamala Harris would have had a year and a half plus to campaign, I think that there just wouldn't be the excitement wouldn't be the same. It just wouldn't. It would be about her. Kamala Harris supporters, including singer Pink and actress Connie Britton, broke a Zoom attendance record on Thursday night and raised more than $1.8 million for the presumptive Democratic presidential candidate. They also kind of broke Zoom as the call dropped in and out. Okay, Friday Night Lights. So these are just commentary. And I think this was, let's see. Yes, this was the third massive Zoom call for Harris following Sunday nights, which saw a then record 44,000 black women in dial. Okay, so there was the 44,000 black women dial in, and on Monday night, 50,000 black men. So it was even more than I thought. Than I said before, 44,000 black women, and then Monday, 50,000 black men, including Georgia Senator Raphael Warnock. and that was 1.3 million. So she's getting a lot of ground support, and that's what she needs. Without it, she can't win. And uh she's getting it. Let's see, how long is this? This is too long. Again, I'm gonna be on Indisputable at 2:30, and a lot of this we're talking basically about this today. We're basically talking about Kamala and Trump and how stuff's turning out. So um let's see. What should we do now? I guess this is just some silly shit. Trump talking about he gonna replace generals with NASCAR people. Just some silly stuff with Trump real quick. Because why not? I haven't watched it, so why not?
It's great. How you do it is amazing. It's so amazing. We should send you into, I've always said, get some of these guys. I have a lot of friends in that world. I don't know. I think, is it Roger Penske, like a great guy too? He won 20 Indianapolis 500s. This guy wins all the time. I mean, we
Roger, definitely looking forward to it. I think it'll be a good show today for sure. Appreciate you for being here, and I appreciate you for tuning in to Indisputable.
appreciate talent. I said, let me use these guys to guide our military a little bit. When you can win so many races, that's okay. You know, you guide. Same thing with coaches. You take some of the greatest football coaches, you put them at a table. What do you like, coach?
This dude said take some football coaches and some NASCAR drivers, put them in a general seat. You know, they have good instincts. He's so dumb. He's so damn stupid. All right, let's see. Apparently, there's questions about if Donald Trump actually got hit by a bullet or if it was shrapnel. Either way, he got shot at, and some, other people were hit. Some of them died at the rally. Um, Either way, he could have lost his life for sure. Let's see what's up.
Former President Trump, there's some question about whether or not it's a bullet or shrapnel that that hit his ear. So it's conceivable. Although, as I sit here right now, I don't know whether that bullet, in addition to causing the grazing, could have also landed somewhere else. But I believe we've accounted for all of the shots and the cartridges. So let us.
He's a showboat. He's a grandstander. The FBI has been.
Donald Trump calling anybody a showboat or a grandstander. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Now, I haven't watched this, but I thought that this seemed like a interesting point that Michael Steele, the former RNC chair, makes about the duration of our elections. Apparently, he's going to talk about how you don't need 2 years to ramp up a campaign. I think there's so much to be gained from what's going on right now. A whole lot, so much to be learned. And also, notes to take about how we can potentially change the structure of our electoral system. Because again, it's like Kamala's in the position that she's in largely because there's not that much time. That's not the only reason, but that's a lot of it. That really is a lot of it.
But I love the flexibility here. I love the in your face. We're not going to lie down and curl up in the corner just because Donald Trump is rage tweeting at 2 a.m., which says a lot if he's doing that, which means this team has gotten under his skin. This team is going to be competitive. Will there be stumbles? Yes, because that's the nature of the game. But how they recover from that and how they set that up, I think, becomes the next side of this conversation, going into the convention and then whipsawing out of the convention into a full-throated campaign. One last point about this process that I love right now. Joe Biden has been transformative on so many levels. And I think Joe Biden may have unlocked for us a very important key in our electoral process, because what we're seeing now is the reason why we don't need 2 years of a presidential race. Sorry, consultants, I know, but we can do this in a very short time frame.
Again, I think that this is perhaps one of the most important things that we've gained from this, especially if Kamala's momentum continues and she ends up winning. Um, we can afford to take more risks. We can afford to be more bold. We can afford to have a bit more hope and belief that um, that in fact we can accomplish things. So I think this is a good point by Michael Steele.
Because Kamala Harris is doing it. She's standing
Michael,
up a national
I'm an advocate
campaign.
for the staffers. I'm an advocate for every staffer in America, for every future presidential campaign. They don't want it.
They don't want it, but I'm not saying you don't need to do it in 3 weeks, but you can do it in 6 to 8 months. You don't need 2 years to ramp up a campaign. Trust me, I know that. You don't. But it does show flexibility, the ability to engage a conversation with the American people, and
He was like, hey, now she said, I speak for the consultants. We want 2-year contracts. We don't want 4-month contracts. That's exactly what she just said. She was like, hold on now. These 2-year campaigns pay my mortgage. You know what I'm saying? My mortgage payments depend on these long, drawn out campaigns. How much of an admission is that to like how this shit works and where who's getting paid and where the real benefits are. So many observations about how oftentimes Democrats don't really care about losing or don't really care about what they're pushing because it keeps people's jobs secure. But this is nothing new. But again, I think this is a good point.
I think, Jonathan, that is something to watch. I'm not saying the next cycle we're going to do this in 6 months, but it shows it can be done. We don't need 2 years of TV commercials running for president.
The future here in the United States, snap elections, per Michael Steele. And certainly it has only been a few days since Kamala Harris's campaign has come together. They are showing that nimbleness.
And again, that's exactly why I keep saying that, so much of this magic for Kamala is because we haven't been looking at her for the last year. We have been looking at her for the last year. People would have time to not be as excited, would have time to think like, oh, well, what about this? What about that? It's so yeah, absolutely. We'll keep our eyes on the polls. This is one of them. Another poll came out. She was up by 2. But then when you're looking at, when she's polled, like with the black voters and the youth vote, she's way up on Trump. And it's only been a few days. That's not going to turn around. I mean, like 78 for the black vote, and then Trump got like 16% and stuff like that. They definitely got to continue to focus on the swing states because she's got pretty much everything else that Joe Biden lost. She got popular culture behind her, Beyonce, whatever the girl's name, the XCX or whatever, pretty much everybody. And again, this is not about her. It's about the movement. It's about moving towards the future. Let's see. Kamala met with Netanyahu and she came out and made a statement about the suffering of Palestinians in Gaza. She said she wouldn't be silent about it, and she said to Netanyahu that it's time to get a ceasefire done. So obviously, we have to hold our feet to the fire for this, but this seems to be a step further than what Biden was ever willing to do.
So I just had a frank and constructive meeting with Prime Minister Netanyahu. I told him that I will always ensure that Israel is able to defend itself, including from Iran and Iran-backed militias such as Hamas and Hezbollah. From when I was a young girl, collecting funds to plant trees for Israel, to my time in the United States Senate and now at the White House, I have had an unwavering commitment to the existence of the State of Israel, to its security, and to the people of Israel. I've said it many times, but it bears repeating. Israel has a right to defend itself, and how it does so matters. Hamas is a brutal terrorist organization. On October 7, Hamas triggered this war when it massacred 1,200 innocent people, including 44 Americans. Hamas has committed horrific acts of sexual violence and took 250 hostages. There are American citizens who remain captive in Gaza. Sagi Deko Hen, Hirsch Goldberg, Poland, Idan Alexander, Keith Siegel, Omer Nutra, and the remains of American citizens Judy Weinstein, Gad Haggai, and Itai Hen are still being held in Gaza. I have met with the families of these American hostages multiple times now, and I've told them each time they are not alone, and I stand with them. And President Biden and I are working every day to bring them home. I also expressed with the Prime Minister my serious concern about the scale of human suffering in Gaza, including the death of far too many innocent civilians. And I made clear my serious concern about the dire humanitarian situation there, with over 2 million people facing high levels of food insecurity, and 500,000 people facing catastrophic levels of acute food insecurity. What has happened in Gaza over the past 9 months is devastating. The images of dead children and desperate, hungry people fleeing for safety, sometimes displaced for the second, third, or fourth time. We cannot look away in the face of these tragedies. We cannot allow ourselves to become numb to the suffering, and I will not be silent. Thanks to the leadership of our President, Joe Biden, there is a deal on the table for a ceasefire and a hostage deal. And it is important that we recall what the deal involves. The first phase of the deal would bring about a full ceasefire, including a withdrawal of the Israeli military from population centers in Gaza. In the second phase, the Israeli military would withdraw from Gaza entirely, and it would lead to a permanent end to the hostilities. It is time for this war to end, and end in a way where Israel is secure, all the hostages are released, the suffering of Palestinians in Gaza ends, and the Palestinian people can exercise their right to freedom, dignity, and self-determination. There has been hopeful movement in the talks to secure an agreement on this deal. And as I just told Prime Minister Netanyahu, it is time to get this deal done. So to everyone who has been calling for a ceasefire, and to everyone who yearns for peace, I see you and I hear you. Let's get the deal done so we can get a ceasefire to end the war. Let's bring the hostages home, and let's provide much-needed relief to the Palestinian people. And ultimately, I remain committed to a path forward that can lead to a two-state solution. And I know right now it is hard to conceive of that prospect, but a two-state solution is the only path that ensures Israel remains a secure Jewish and democratic state, and one that ensures Palestinians can finally realize the freedom, security, and prosperity that they rightly deserve. And I will close with this then. It is important for the American people to remember the war in Gaza is not a binary issue. However, too often the conversation is binary, when the reality is anything but. So I ask my fellow Americans to help encourage efforts to acknowledge the complexity, the nuance, and the history of the region. Let us all condemn terrorism and violence. Let us all do what we can to prevent the suffering of innocent civilians, and let us condemn anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, and hate of any kind. And let us work to unite our country. I thank you.
also the tone has been so biting when it.
I mean, I think that's about as good as it could possibly get in term. I mean, because she's not in office yet. You know what I'm saying? So like, there's only you know what there's not much we can do other than give her a chance. From my perspective, that's more than Joe Biden has ever been willing to say. That's more than he's ever been willing to do, and perhaps other than APAC money and the power of APAC money, perhaps him being so, just in the state that he's in now, maybe that's some of why Netanyahu has been able to, kick him around a lot. But I think that it's pretty, just politically speaking, I think that it's pretty clear and evident what needs to happen. It's clear and evident that the Palestinians, for decades, but especially, not especially, but decades, and right now, we're all looking at it with our own eyes. How unfairly and brutally the Palestinian people have been treated, how things have been how their land has been taken from them, how their resources, how their future has been robbed from them systematically. It's pretty obvious and clear what the situation is, and because of that, there's good opportunity to get something done. So I think that I don't really know how. I think that the way she delivered that was as good as it could be for right now, and I think that we should give her a chance. But most importantly, let's push her in that direction. We can't let her or anybody else in her administration forget about the suffering of the Palestinians in Gaza and just this whole situation, along with everything else that she's supposedly going to be standing on. So again, from my perspective, I think and I'm not like I don't cover this situation closely because I'm not the best person to do it. But that's certainly better than anything Joe Biden ever could have given. And now what we have to do is see what she about. Let's see what she does, because one thing's for sure and for certain is it'll be better than anything that the Trump administration gets at. And what I've been saying about Kamala Harris is, because this really isn't about her, I think that she's more likely to be more progressive than Joe Biden and Obama, because it'll benefit her brand, it'll benefit her legacy, it'll benefit her career personally. Before we even get to the help and the positives that it'll do for the world, moreover, it'll benefit her career. So I think that there's a good opportunity to get a lot of stuff done with her in office. I really do. Um, no, we don't really need to go over the rest of this stuff. But yes, yes. Quick stream today. That's all we're gonna do for today. I'm going to be on Indisputable at 2:30 Eastern time. Check me out there. We're gonna be. This is pretty much what we're talking about today on Indisputable, like Kamala's campaign, and mostly what we went over this morning. But yeah, so thank y'all for joining me. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for everything that you do. And catch me on Indisputable. And other than that, I'll see you soon.